Okay, so let's start with the JavaScript. So can you explain what is hosting in JavaScript and how it works?
Okay, so hosting comes with ES6 version of JavaScript, and before hosting, there was like lot of confusion with where and post variable because they can be redeclared anywhere below their block scope. And after hosting, what was happening, hosting is a concept through which variables are declared first with an undefined value, and then on their line of processing, the value will be pushed inside that variable itself.
Okay, can you tell me what event loop?
Yeah, I can tell you about event loop. So event loop is an important concept of JavaScript on which basically JavaScript works. So what happened, like whenever anything will be processed, so a task is initiated, and that particular task is then sent to the event queue, where like the event loop will be initially checking that if that particular task is synchronous or asynchronous in nature. And if it is synchronous in nature, then it will process it on the way and send back it to the handler where it is initiated. And if it is asynchronous, then it will be sent for further processing in a asynchronous nature in event queue. And inside that queue, it will remains inside that queue until it is fully processed. And further that time, event loop will be checking if that process is completed or not. If that process is completed, then it will be picked from that queue and sent back to the user or handler where it is initiated.
Okay, so have you used promises before?
Yeah, I have used promises.
Can you tell me what are promises?
Yeah, as simple as that, promises means they will promise you something. It can be anything, but it is basically a promise that you will be answered right away when you will be processing or like asking for something. So promises have basically three phases. First is pending, and the second is resolved, and third one is cancelled, basically rejected.
Okay, so if I going to use set interval and promise, which what will be executed first?
I think promises will be executed first because it has higher priorities in event loop.
Okay, what are the difference between set timeout and set interval?
Yeah, so set timeout basically set a time, and after that particular time, your task will be executed, which you provide in callback function. And set interval is basically a repetitive instruction to implement to call that particular callback at a repetitive time.
Okay, so can you tell me about some new ES6 features that came earlier?
Yeah. So in ES6 we have null check operator, and also we have new hoisting method, and like let and const, basically let. And other than that, we have ternary operator, and there are loads of feature other than those also which come with ES6.
Okay, can you explain what are closures?
Yeah. So the simple definition of closure is basically whatever environment a function make to execute itself, the relationship between that particular function and that environment is basically a closure. That relationship is called closure.
Okay, shall we move to CSS?
Yeah.
How much would you rate yourself in CSS?
Sorry, can you repeat yourself?
How much will you rate yourself in CSS out of 10?
Out of 10, I will be rating myself 8 in CSS.
Okay, can you tell me what is the difference between position fixed and position absolute?
Position, can you repeat which
uh,
position?
Position fixed and position absolute.
Yeah, sure. So these are basically variables of position itself. In position fixed, we have a fixed position on relative to the screen itself. So it will be fixed or stick to the screen on whatever coordinates we are fixing it to. And in absolute, it will basically go outside of its current parent's relative path, and it will basically meet to the global layout, and there it will be like given the distance between top and bottom, and it will set there to the like global layout.
Okay, what is the difference between display none and visibility hidden?
Display none and display visibility hidden.
Yes.
Okay, so in display none, basically the element itself will be removed from the DOM, so there is nothing present there. But when we set this display hidden, then the element is present in the DOM. It is not removed, but the opacity is set to the 0.
Okay, let's move to React. How much will you rate yourself in React?
I will be rating 8 in React.
Okay, can you tell me about lifecycle hooks in React?
Yeah. So life cycle hooks are basically are basically methods in React component through which we can control different actions in a component. Like if you want to do something during the component is rendered on the screen or mounted on the screen, or if it is unmounted on the screen, and during any update on the screen or any component, you want to do anything between those, then you can use these kind of hooks. So some of the hooks are like basically use effect, use state, and yeah, use reducer, use callback, use memo. These are the some hooks.
Okay, have you used higher order components?
Yeah, I have used higher order component too. So sometimes basically I need to set layout. So during that layout, I made a global layout, and inside that layout, I'll be like passing the component I want to render. So that layout itself becomes a higher order component at that time.
Okay, can you tell me about Redux?
Yeah, so Redux is a state management tool, and it is basically a global state management tool through which I can share the state of any component to outside of its siblings on a global level.
Okay, why do we use Redux when we already have context API in React?
Yeah, so we have context API, but we use Redux because it makes things simpler, and it is basically optimized way to use like state management. And also in Redux we can set up multiple actions through which we can control whatever we want to do with our states. So these are some extra features which comes under the Redux. So basically it can handle complex state management.
Okay, Vikas, that's it from my side. Do you want to ask anything?
uh, can you tell me more about like uh, what kind of role it is, and how my like can you give it feedback about how my interview went?
Okay, your interview was good. I liked it. And to talk about the role, usually working in a front end, we mostly our tech stack is React. Sometimes we work on PHP as well, but as far I know, you mostly will be working on React.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Okay.